this topic, a lot of Christians may find offensive, upsetting, that other Christians take this view. Some would even probably go as far as to say it's basically heretical. Wow, I cannot hit anything with this gun. So, and I understand where some Christians are coming from, but I want to give a version of it that makes a little bit of sense of some of the passages within the Old Testament and the New Testament itself. It has to do with, I'm specifically talking about Matthew chapter 24. And this is the story which is about the Olivet Discourse, is what the full name of it is. And it's the moment where the disciples are asking Jesus questions about his return and the end of times, basically, right?
Yeah.
And Jesus answers these questions in pretty good detail, right? He gives us a lot of details of what he's saying is going to happen over these times, right?
About the part where it talks about
no.
the earthquakes and violence and all that to come.
Exactly, yep. There will be wars and rumors of
famines,
wars.
this and that, yeah.
Exactly, yep. You got it. So what's so interesting about this passage, though, is there's a good chunk of people that take this view that it's completely futuristic. Then there is another handful of people that actually, when they read this view, they say, no, this passage has already been fulfilled. And I take a version of that. It's called preterism. Now, I'm not a full preterist. I want to make that clear.
What's
Because
this
I don't
mean?
believe everything of the entire Bible has been fulfilled yet. I think we're still waiting on the second coming of Christ, the physical second coming of Christ, and other things, right? But here's what I'm attempting to say. When Jesus said there will be wars and rumors of wars, and when he described that Christians will be persecuted, and when he described that because of the persecutions of the Christians, people will leave the faith because of it, right? And then he describes what's called the Great Tribulation, then the abomination of desolation, or the abomination that causes desolation, right?
Yeah.
I'm claiming that those events have already happened. It's a hell of a claim, and I know a lot of Christians are like, would not like it. But my point is, I think we have good reason to support it. First, here's my one reason why I think we have good reason to support it. The context of the passage that I'm quoting, Matthew 24, is Jesus is talking about the destruction of the Jewish temple. No.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that was fulfilled in 70 AD. As in, like, this happened in 70 AD. The Romans came into Israel and basically mopped the place out, right? And this was fulfilled, and Jesus predicted this. And that's what the overall theme of these passages is about. But I'm also saying that the other stuff that's being addressed there also happened. Like the Christians were persecuted, right? Nero persecuted Christians. And then because of this, Christians became very shallow and stopped believing in Jesus because, why would I believe in a guy that I have to die for in this kinds of sense, right? That's rough stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, these are things that I'm saying have already been fulfilled. Matthew 24 and those senses have been fulfilled. Now, objections start to rise, because a lot of people will understand where I'm coming from with that, but where they will disagree with me is obviously in the passages where Jesus says that you will see the Son of Man coming from the clouds and stuff of this stature, right? And
yeah.
I totally understand it because, however, I would say that that specific passage is a lot of a metaphorical concept. As in, for example, in the Old Testament, when God comes to give judgment to another nation, or even to Israel, even when God would come to judge Israel, God would come from a cloud, I would say. Does it literally mean that God is coming from a cloud? Well, probably not necessarily. It's just that this was the the author's way of demonstrating to you that this was judgment from Yahweh. Yahweh is judging a specific nation, whether it be Israel or another nation. You know what I mean? This is his way of trying to articulate a specific context theologically to you, and give you some type of way of understanding that context of what he's attempting to articulate. So that's why I'm saying it that way. I don't believe Jesus has returned yet. There are some preterists that believe that Jesus returned spiritually. I don't think that. I think that's silly. I think there's no reason to think that. I think it's clear that when Jesus returns, it'll be a physical return, that he steps down and does, like, for example, in Philippians, Jesus is mentioned. Paul says, every knee will bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus is Lord, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's quite clear that that is true, but I also think it is true that Matthew 24 was fulfilled by the words of Jesus in 70 AD. I believe the tribulation that is talked about in that passage has already happened. Nero, if you look up his number, you know how like people talk about numbers, 666 of Satan?
Yeah.
Nero's number was 666. So that's also another thing that makes people to believe that this was the time frame in which this was the Antichrist, because he was anti-Christian. You know what I mean? He was persecuting Christians. Christianity was basically an illegal religion at the time. It was not a good thing to be a Christian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was a awful time in history to come out and say, you know what, I think I'm a Christian. It was usually bad news bears for you. So these are a few reasons that's making me come to that. And that's why I think that specific
Chris,
path. But yeah, what do you think about it, man?
I know what I was gonna say. I should have said this in the first video, but not to get backtracked.
Yeah,
But
no,
remember
you're
the
good.
video we did about it just brought something to mind. The video or about how will people who've never heard about Jesus be judged?
Yeah.
You know the verse where it says every knee will bow, every tongue confess?
Oh, yep.
We were thinking that could maybe the chance for the people who've never heard about Jesus then, if they've never, been given that chance.
That could be a point.
Have you ever thought about that?
That could be. I could see someone trying to interpret it that way. Yeah. I mean, now some would take that view, but another might say that actually what's happening is this is just the moment that which, like, even though they're non-believers, they're still going to bow to Jesus because Jesus is superior to them. Jesus is a king, so to speak, right? So I could see someone going either way. But I get that too, for sure.
I got a good idea. I know we're still on this video, but I got a really good idea we can do. Either you can do it, you might be better off do it by yourself, but a good idea for video. What is Satan's biggest tool?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a big question too.
We can really get into that one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I got kind of an idea of I can't say the number one, but I can probably narrow it down to top 5.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to do that one?
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid topic too. Absolutely. Oh no! Dang, I was trying to just punch everybody. Yeah, no, I think that's the good stuff. But yeah.
So what was